I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. I have some new people in the front row. Thank you for coming. And all the other usual suspects are here, so thank you very much for that. Okay, the order of business is the agenda, which if you hadn't picked it up, there's some extra copies here on the table. And are there any additions to this that we need to make before we proceed? No? Good. Okay. So I need a motion to accept that agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Chris,
Accept the
second?
agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? No, good. Board meeting minutes from our last meeting, March 10th, have been posted. Did you get responses from all of us, John? And you got them all
Everybody?
adjusted? Even me, who
Yeah.
doesn't get
Yes.
your emails?
Yes, you.
You know I always respond when you
I
send it
did.
to me.
Did you get the one I sent you just directly?
From you,
Okay.
yes, but I don't get it from Outlook. I don't think Outlook talks to
Well,
my...
I sent it on Outlook, off my
Well, it
computer.
can't, I got it from you, but I didn't get it from the
On
HOA.
the,
Is it hot in here again? Is this going to be one of those nights?
it's warm.
Okay, we're having a short meeting. Okay. All right, so
Meeting adjourned. I'm moving.
it was so hot in here. What night was that? Saturday night? It had to be at 90 degrees in here.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
We had a Saturday.
Yes, that's right.
Saturday night, it was terrible.
Awful. Okay, so we have the meeting minutes are corrected as per any comments and final. Okay.
Yep.
All right, reports. I have several items, but they are incorporated into the agenda, so I will pass on that for now. Greg,
I have nothing to report.
tell me about your house numbers.
I sent you the final listing, and we're
Another
waiting.
email I didn't get.
Yep. Didn't you get it?
No.
Yes, I still have that. I want to say, I think I had a total of.
It wasn't many.
No, there was a
It
whole
was
lot.
more than you thought?
Correct, there really was. There was probably upwards over 100.
That we can replace completely?
Correct, that are not even there. Not the ones you can't see very well, just
Okay.
ones that are missing, period.
Okay,
I went through the list, I still have the list here, I will go through it again and look, and I'll send it, and we'll go from there, figure out what we're doing. Robin was waiting for what to do, so I've not got back to her yet.
Did she have to update her quote? What we're talking about, for those of you who weren't here back when we started all this, there are a number of homes in here which do not have house numbers identifying them on the house, okay? So it's
They
difficult.
might be on the plaques, but not on the
They
house.
might, well, no, these ones that he's doing are ones that are
That's right, but
house.
they have to be on the house.
And so, we're not here to argue about who's doing what, but that is a fire code regulation that they be identifiable. They have to be at a certain height, the letters have to be so big. And we got management to foot the bill, hopefully.
Right.
We don't know until we
Yeah.
get a final price on the numbers that Robin Groff is going to provide.
Right.
And they'll be on a carrier. So if you guys have ever bought numbers at Home Depot or whatever and tried to put them up evenly, individually, enough to drive you to drink. And so these will be on a carrier, so you peel off one side and you stick it on, and then you gently peel off the front and it'll stay. It's all in one line. So let's
They'll
get
fit
that
perfectly on everybody's
siding.
in that area. Each panel is so, what, I'm gonna say about 3 inches or so,
Yeah.
3¼ inches in width. And those numbers will fit right there. And these are for the houses that absolutely have no numbers whatsoever. There was quite a few that are hard to read, but we getting those taken off of the houses without damaging the houses possibly or whatever, that's just, and there's no way to actually put a number over that because you can't match the
font.
italics or fonts or whatever you want to call it to make it look nice. So there's really nothing that can be done. Personally, I have my own little plaque on my house that I paid for. A lot of folks do have that. Some have them on the their signs out in the front of the house, but it has to be on the house, physically on the house somewhere, whether it be over the carport or over here. Because some have them different places, but the ones that I noted, close to 50, but I still have the numbers, that absolutely had no houses. And those houses is what we're looking at taking care of to get within the standard that we have to have.
Right, okay, all right, let's try to get that wrapped so we can get it taken care of
Okay.
this summer early.
Okay.
Okay, John, You have a report?
Yes, I was just gonna update, I know they're here and everything, the welcome committee. If you live in a place where somebody new has moved into the neighborhood, if you've introduced yourself, you can also remind them that there is a welcome committee meeting on the 8th of May at 10 a.m. that we would like for anybody new to come here. And so, I mean, I think it's,
Find out everything you need to know and then
Right.
some.
right.
Absolutely.
Right, so that they know what they're gonna get into here, all the good things.
You guys have your gift certificate for,
Yes.
okay, we're good? Okay. And Mike, will you be able to be at that for membership?
I know.
Okay, can you be there?
Made.
I'll check my calendar, but I don't think
We'd
I
like to
anything.
have some people, we don't need the whole board there, but it's nice to have
Somebody in charge?
representative,
I will be there.
yeah, somebody in charge.
Mike will be there.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a
I have a
Thursday.
headache.
That's a Thursday, so.
Yes, it's a Thursday.
And it's on my calendar, so.
Okay, all right.
Good.
Have you gotten certificates, now I'm talking about FMO certification for training, have you gotten everybody's,
Everybody that's here, yes.
okay, good.
Yeah, the only one missing is mine, which I took it today, so.
Okay, and it'll be within 2 weeks, I
Within
think is
2
what they
weeks,
sent
right.
them. Okay, treasurer, Wayne and Chris, take it away.
So on the front desk, I have there's 2 pages, page 2 and page 5. The board, I sent the package out to your email account, and then hopefully you have that in front of you. So page 1 is just the agenda, which is the normal stuff I go over. Page 2, which people and there's some extra copies at that table there if you didn't get one. Page 2 is the account balances. As everyone knows, we have a checking, a money market, and we have 2 CDs, and we're currently at about $105,000. Page 3 is just a high-level summary of our income and expenses through the month of, this is for the month of March. And the way the form is set up, show the income, the deposits I break down by category, and then I list the checks that were written. The bottom part of the page is the reconciliation between the checkbook and the bank balance as of 3/31. And you can see we had a delta of $18.50, and that was a check that was written to the Ambucks organization, and it was deposited on March 31st, and it didn't hit our bank until April 2nd. So that's the outstanding balance there.
And Wayne, to clarify, that check was from donations made through the HOA, through whatever, Can-Am and so forth, and we, at one time a month, make sure that transfer happens, correct?
Yes, so that would be, geez, you're a good setup person. That's page 4. This is the Ambucks summary, the money coming in. We had money come in January and March. That money has been transferred to the Ambucks ramp program. And we tie out monthly with, I think I saw Mick here, Nick, Jill Pittman. We tie out with Jill Pittman, and she said you were on board with our numbers. And I guess I provide the information to both Chris and Gwen, so.
I'm on
I
there,
think
I
we're,
see, thank you, no.
I think we're in sync there.
So you do, yeah.
Okay, so that was page 3, page 4. Page 5, which this audience has, is just the first quarter by month income and expense by category that gives us a first quarter total. And, if you look at the March income, we had basically 3 items. The bingo, which is business as usual. Mike's attacking the membership renewals and new members. And then we did have a pancake breakfast in the month of March. I did distribute limited basis the pancake breakfast P&L. In March, we had a pretty good gross profit of 57%. For the first quarter overall, we were sitting at 38%. So I think that's good news. In terms of the expense, really not much happening there other than we had the semi-annual shredding program, and that was the biggest driver, $700. So, and again, when you do your midnight reading, if there's something you have a burning desire, just call me. Page 6 is the summary of the expenses, 1731, by where the checks were written to. That was a request that I guess previous board members like to see, so I still show it. Pages 7, 8, 9, those are the bank statements that tie to the previous numbers. I'd like you guys to have that just to show that we're doing the bank reconciliation and there's no surprises. And page 10 is just a kind of an income and expense summary by major group, and that kind of ties back to the sheet the little spreadsheet I have. But again, that shows that my little spreadsheet ties what's loaded into the system. So that's what I have in terms of financials.
So we made $1,385 last month? Is that right? Do I get that correctly?
That would be the 1385 is the net, yes. So that's what I have on that particular topic.
Thank you.
Oh, Chris, did you have anything to add?
Keep on going.
Liability insurance for you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about the insurance now, or you
Yeah,
want to wait?
do it.
Okay, so for the board members, I dropped off a 2-page, 3-page summary. Insurance policy overview. Chris and I have been working on the renewal process. We kicked this off in November, December, and for a renewal date of May 2nd, which will be May 2nd, 2025 through May 1st, 2026. The policy coverage, we have directors and officers coverage here, and it has been expanded now beyond this board. We have 7 other Cypress Lakes groups that are under our tax ID, and we have clarification from the insurance carrier that yes, those 7 board of directors that use our tax ID are covered under the directors and officers liability as long as the combined amount of money stays under a particular cap, and we're well below the cap, so that was good, and there is no additional charge for that. Also, we have general liability, crime protection, and then we got a small Florida license fee we have to pay that goes to the state of Florida for the exact reason, I don't know, but it's on all policies. Some observations going through this very tedious process is there's limited providers that provide this kind of HOA insurance for our kind of HOA group. We're not a, quote, true HOA in terms of where we have ownership of buildings, we have management of budgets. We don't do that. That's code management. So the reason I bring that up, I had reached out to the FMO group to say, hey, this is no small expense, which you'll see in 2 minutes. What are these other HOAs that are part of the FMO? What are they doing for insurance? Sadly to say that after 4 emails to this group, nothing came back, which is, I understand they have their own issues they're dealing with. So we have been dealing with, for the last 4 or 5 years, with Shapiro Insurance Group. My contact there contacted several carriers, and the bottom line was that all those rates from these other carriers were much higher than what we have been getting through Shapiro via
Auto owners.
auto owners insurance. The other thing I'll note here is this liability insurance moving forward could at some point become cost prohibitive, and we're going to have to kind of come up with some creative way to solve this thing. So without any more suspense, if you go to page 2, what I've done here is I've laid out, there's 3 blocks of numbers here. Starting at the bottom is what we paid in the 2024 through 2025 May. We spent about $8,800 on the whole bucket, general liability, crime, and the Florida insurance fee. When we got the initial estimate this year, it came in at $12,700, and after I picked myself up off the floor, we continued to work with Shapiro Insurance, and it came back that we were able to get an adjustment from the 12.7 down to our final number of 10.9. And where the major portion of the increase came was in the general liability. In speaking with Shapiro, I said, well, what's the deal here on this general liability? Because if you go back, this 10.9 compared to what we put in the budget of, which I put in the budget at 9,000, was based on the previous 3 years where it was really going up 2 or 3% a year. This increase is about 24%, and it's driven by 2 things. One is the business class that we're in, because we're an HOA, and we're combined in with the other HOAs I referred to earlier, where they have they own property, they also manage budgets. And the second thing is, and the condo associations. And the condo associations is a whole nother bailiwick. If you recall, South Florida has had some major issues with condo high-rises, and so this is generating a lot of exposure. So we're in that bucket, like similar to car insurance. Sometimes you get lopped into a insurance bucket, and your rates are kind of dictated by the pool. And then the second thing is the hurricanes that we've had the last year and a half has pushed this bucket of exposure upward. So the net is our bill is going to be the $11,000, and I've broken it out by the different buckets there.
What's ST?
What's that?
What is S?
I think subtotal. Yeah, subtotal. So, and you can see that from this year, the policy discount, they blew back into the categories where in previous years they gave you a number, and then they added a policy discount below. And part of our discount is, which they don't break it out, but we make a one-time payment, and that saves us some money. So that's what I have, board. Hopefully, any questions, you can let me know. But, the other thing I will add is I think I made my position clear that, first of all, I don't want to pay anything for general liability. Then it was brought to my attention that it's in our bylaws that per our bylaws, we had to carry in $2 million policy, number one. Number two, these factors they are using were based on, generated based on maximum exposure. So as Mike will tell you, we have approximately 1,600 lots here, which leads to potential members, but our members are down around 1,000. So I said, hey, if I've got 1,000 members, and I showed him the data over the last 4 years, thanks to Mike's help, I says, why can't I just pay, I'll bump it up by a couple hundred, and we'll see. If I get closer to 1,600, we can do an adjustment. And I was quickly told that's not how things work. They look at the maximum exposure, and that's what is calculated on. So we looked at a lot of different things, and the net result was it came back to $11,000 or a 24% increase year to year. So.
Okay.
Well, you got that much anyway. Better than nothing, I guess. And because we have to, it doesn't make any difference, does it, for us to add Cove as an also named on it? That doesn't cost us anything, does it? Okay.
because we're just gonna, that's, no, no, it doesn't.
Okay, all right. Thanks for all that work.
So, I don't, it's in the budget, but
We're gonna
I think
be
our
over.
hands are tied. So I'd like to get the check out a little early because I don't want,
Write it.
we got a lot of balls up in the air right now, and I don't want to lapse in coverage.
You know,
I don't
Okay.
think, I don't think
Need
we
a
need,
motion?
I don't think we need a motion. We have the
Okay.
amount in the budget,
So
so.
hopefully, that check will be going out by the end of the week. So.
Good. Thank you, Wayne, for all
Yeah.
that work.
Well, Chris was, she's very good at
Crunching numbers.
crunching numbers, but also system stuff, and she's a lot calmer than I am.
I feel you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris, for keeping him calm, too. Okay, anything else either of you have to add? Do you have any updates for us, Chris, on your email of the information we had to provide to the accountants?
All the information was provided to them. They did send a follow-up email about 2 weeks ago, which we, on general questions for the first year, 2019, of all the financial information. I think those types of questions are going to be
Transferred to all of them?
We'll answer to next year's. Then I've heard nothing from them, but we have to remember tomorrow's
Tax
April
season,
15th, and they have many, many other clients that they're working with. We were
Right.
just a last minute addition. So I think after tomorrow, if they take a little break, then we'll be hearing
Okay.
from them again.
All right, good. Okay, anything else from either of you? No? Good?
No, I think that's,
Okay. All right, Doug, talk to us about aesthetics and standards.
We, as I was telling Greg earlier, we've been checking out all the houses. The one thing I've learned is that the sun is out, it's getting warmer, and weeds are growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say.
So were there letters sent last month?
As far as I know, they were.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I,
we have testimony.
yeah, I talked to,
We had an issue with them not sending us
final report.
their piece of the puzzle back
Yes.
to us.
Yes,
And that's
and,
now fixed.
okay.
Greg fixed it.
well, I sent an email and I got an answer, so put it that way.
So from here on, we will get the summary
Yes.
We're
sheet.
gonna get the final
Okay.
report, not the letters. The final report we'll get. We used to get the whole bang, all of
We
it.
don't need all that.
And corporate's like, why are they getting this? Well, it's because we do all the dang work.
We do the work.
And I said, but you haven't been sending the final report for our posting, let alone our records,
Right.
which is what we were talking
Yeah.
about. That's been resolved. We're gonna get those.
I
Okay.
like Greg's answer or question to them was, if you're not gonna do all that, then we're gonna wipe our hands and we're not gonna do that anymore.
And you're in charge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember,
But
we're
still
only,
doing
as they put it, we're only advisories.
Well.
Well, I'm advising you, we're not doing it anymore. He goes, no, you'll get them. I said, that's what I thought.
Uh-huh, okay, all right. And you're still doing that ride-through by the 5th and your recommendations by the 5th? Is that the number,
I'm trying to get
the
it
date
done by
you're
the
doing?
5th, but that's difficult.
You don't have to go for
Yeah, I know.
You might have to take a day off, yeah.
Gosh.
I just realized I have food on the front of me.
Come on.
Does it show? Okay, good. Okay, safety and security. Toby, talk to us.
All right, so we had an incident, about a month or so ago out here, where there was a wheelchair that got caught up in a drain that was on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That drain has been covered. You'll see a couple of stanchions next to it. The drain has been covered, so we've addressed, that.
Have they repaired the concrete that chipped out? Because that needs to be
Yeah, I
fixed
don't
too.
believe, yeah.
I have that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, good,
George
okay,
does that.
all right.
Based on the use of the AED out at the pickleball tennis courts, replacement supplies have been ordered. Gwen and I have been talking about this. And one of the things, we get feedback from a resident, why don't you put a mouthpiece into the AED compartment?
For CPR.
For CPR purposes. And I did a little investigating, and if you take a class, the CPR class, they are teaching CPR with the breaths, the old 15 to 2, for professional emergency responders. But lay people like us, they're teaching hands-only CPR, and it's basically, it's 60 reps per minute.
Chest compressions. you're
Chest
talking about.
compression, yeah, sorry, 60 chest compressions a minute. You do it to the tune of staying alive, you'll never go wrong, because it's 100 beats a minute. So it's actually 100 beats a minute, 100 compressions a minute. we kicked it around, and if you pop the AED out to hook it up, nowhere in that AED does it tell you to do any kind of breaths. It doesn't reference a mouthpiece. So it's our recommendation that we do not include the mouthpieces with them. Now, that does not preclude people like myself and others carrying mouthpieces in their cars and in their golf carts, so that if you happen to come upon somebody and you want to do the mouth, you can, the one-way mouth guards. So if you hear that out there, and if you've ever turned on an AED, it talks you through the entire process, where to put the pads, if a shock's advised, it does the whole thing. But we're going to recommend not putting the mouthpieces in the AEDs for that reason. So next, this may rub some people the wrong way, but stop signs are not a suggestion. And this goes for vehicles and golfers. I got reported an incident where a resident almost got hit by a golf cart coming across 12 onto 13. The golf cart did not stop. This is unacceptable. And to boot, the golfer got out and reamed out the resident. So,
Was the golfer a resident?
I don't know if the golfer was a resident. Here's the thing, the rules of the road apply to everybody, and I get it. You know, you can say, well, there's no enforcement in this community, and you're absolutely correct. There is no enforcement in this community. But it's common courtesy. We have people out walking, we have people biking, we have people, and look, I get it, the bikes don't stop for the stop signs either. And I've seen that. I've been really observant on this stuff. But it's just a common courtesy. So if I'll make a concerted effort, look, and
I think you're probably preaching to the choir
I
here.
know we probably are. If you're doing 15 and you stop at the stop sign and nobody's coming and it's 10 o'clock at night, I get it. The temptation's to roll right through it. But you don't know what you don't see. So
There are people out there walking at night that are not with reflective clothing.
Two or three deer going across right now,
Exactly,
too.
right.
exactly. We are working on communication to residents about the locations of the AEDs. That was some feedback that I got on a form. So thank you for that. So we'll work on getting communication out on that. And that leads me to the next point, that if it's not written down, it doesn't happen. It didn't happen, and this does not mean Facebook. So there are forms that the HOA has and that Bonnie has, and Bonnie's got an email out there. Putting it on Facebook, and again, I'm preaching to the choir, but tell your friends, putting it on Facebook does absolutely no good. First of all, management doesn't read it. I see it, but I'm not gonna get involved in that drama. We got a piece coming up a little bit later on that. So you gotta fill the form out, and if you start inundating the office with forms, trust me, things will happen. Speeding continues to be an issue. We had a CAP member, shall remain nameless, who completed a study of our speeding and noted many infractions. And this particular CAP member had a radar gun and was radaring people in this park.
It slows people down when you point the gun at them.
It does, it does. I thought I would get my hairdryer out and just kind of, you know, and I got the pose too, so.
We have a hairdryer.
We've had a lot of, and look, you know.
You borrowed Lisa's hairdryer, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So, you know, speeding continues to be an issue, and I'm not talking about doing 20 miles an hour. I'm talking about doing 30 or 40 miles an hour, which we've seen. And again, it's just not safe. Along with that, please, please, please never confront another resident. I did that once, okay? I'll never do it again, because Bonnie and I chatted about it. It was a long time ago. Oh, you chatted about it. Report it. If it's serious enough, file a report with the Polk County Sheriff's Office. And Polk County Sheriffs will pay that resident a visit, or pay the, you know, or they'll get with Bonnie and figure out if it's a vendor. So just never, please never confront another resident. It's not worth it. CERT will be monitoring the Resident Appreciation Luncheon this Thursday. We'll have two roving teams, watching doorways and watching for slips, trips, and falls. Wayne Holmes will be the team leader. He'll be on site. They're activating at 10 o'clock, so you'll see the green vests. And then lastly, hurricane preparedness is May 28th. I'll give another PSA at the May meeting. That is sponsored by CERT and Polk County Fire Rescue. We'll have Josh Joshua come in from Polk County Fire Rescue to do that training. That is at 6:30 on the 28th. If you look at May's newsletter, you'll see a little blurb from me in the cert column about that as well. So, and then the only other thing we had on the agenda was reverse 911. And I don't know if you and I need to get together on it, because we've got the stuff in place, but we proved it didn't work.
Well, it didn't work, we didn't have phone service, but
Right.
that's the first time we've ever had that. So, do you want to test it
I would
with
like
the,
to
like the
test it.
board
I'd
and,
like to test it
and,
with the board in the month of May. Yeah. So if we can do that, and Greg, maybe you can show me how to use, maybe you can show me how to use it.
it's easy.
Okay.
If it isn't easy, I couldn't do it, because I gotta do it from my phone, so, okay.
That's all I got on safety and security.
Okay, talking about hurricane preparedness, do you have updates to that booklet? Will there be? Because we'll have to get those printed pretty quick.
No, the ERT, the emergency response, no, we didn't update that this year.
Okay, but numbers could have changed and all that, you know, the insert sheet for the booklet?
Right. so
Nothing has changed?
Nothing has changed to my knowledge. I will
Okay.
take another look at that
Okay.
this month and make sure, and I'll bring a report back to the main meeting.
Okay, well, we'll need to get something printed and copied if we need to.
Yeah,
So,
and I'll be getting stuff from Polk County Fire Rescue, but we'll need to check on it.
and I have no more of the, what's the little card? Alert, alert, yeah.
The alert,
That should be coming with Josh, but I'll make sure he brings some.
Okay, we had to get extra last time, and that's always important to have.
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
Toby, I have a quick
Yeah.
question going back to this AED, that device. Is there any plans in the works to have any future training on those? The reason I ask is, I'm a pickleball player, and I really probably blew off the previous training when Madeline was here. And after talking to some people that were down there, number one, I'm glad we pursued getting those things installed, because management was not, as I recall, really behind us on that. And number two, even though there was people there who were experienced with these things, it's a lot different when you see that person, you know that person, and there's a whole bunch of emotion that takes over. So if it ever happens to me, I hope there's a EMT going by that can bring me back. So that's why I'm asking, because I think I'm going to take a course. I'll have to find it, even if I have to do it on my
I
own.
think I can get one from the health department. I'll call Jen Brandow and see if she can come out.
Yeah, because there's two schools of thought, Wayne. I mean, and I've heard that from a number of the folks that play pickleball, that they want something. And the CERT can definitely provide something, but it can't be a certifiable course. Like, you know, Rob and I could teach it, but it can't be certified. Now, if we could work through Florida Health and get something certified through American Health, American Lung Association, or Cardiac Science or something, that would be good. But I've heard that that's a need. I can't, you know, and you made a good point, and we tell the CERT people this all the time. There is a lot of emotion that comes in an emergency, and
Especially when you know that person.
you know that person, and what I've told the CERT folks is, you know, if it's Rob or I or Wayne that's the team lead, we may shout, we may yell, it's not personal, it's the adrenaline in the situation. And I think that's the key thing, is the adrenaline. And we can't teach that, but we can teach muscle memory on how to use the thing.
Yeah.
So that at least you can overcome the emotion. So, I mean, we can check with Florida Health, or I
I'll
can
call
check-
Jen tomorrow and
All right,
see.
and I'll check with Rob and between the two of us. So,
How
Chris?
long do you think that type of training would take? The reason I'm asking is, can we attach it to the hurricane preparedness? Because that's such a
It's
well-attended.
minutes.
It's a
For- for the
well-attended event, and
AED
you can't get
only.
people up here usually to come to things like
It's
this.
usually that's usually a hands.
It's usually hands-on.
You can't
That's
do it in a large
lar-
group.
it's a
You have to
large
have small
group.
groups.
They
It
were
would
like
probably
sending
take
us a
an hour.
YouTube video.
It would, no, probably take an hour and a half. I mean, because what you
Oh,
want
to
to
do
is.
all that, all the people? You tell
No,
me.
not in a big group. We'd have to do it in groups of probably 20, 25.
I don't even know,
Just not
and
around
Madeline liked 8 to 10.
Yeah,
So-
but we've got the mannequins. CERT owns 4 mannequins, so we can
That's
do
for
hands-only
CPR.
CPR, and we can do the AED.
Yeah,
And we
I
actually-
didn't think it was gonna be that. I thought it was
Yeah.
just gonna be, how do you use this thing?
No, because you need them both. So in other words, somebody goes down to the pickleball court and Wayne finds them. Wayne is going to immediately start doing CPR. And he's going to say, Chris, you
Go
call
get the
911.
AED.
George, you go get the AED. George is gonna go get the AED, you're gonna call 911, he's doing chest compressions, George is gonna bring the AED over, pop it open, start it, and that's when everything kind of starts happening. But until that AED's hooked up and it
CPR
says
is
shock
necessary.
advised or no shock advised, Wayne is still doing compressions. So the compressions piece has to be taught with the AED, so.
Can
but
we get another AED?
We can,
Why? Why?
Why?
Where would you put it?
The pickleball court is quite a ways from where it is. And I'm just thinking the pro shop too, as far as.
There's one in the
there's
billiards
one in the
room,
billiards room.
and there's one in the fitness center.
Okay.
The only place we don't have covered, and we talked about this, is the North Clubhouse, and it's because it got stolen.
Okay.
And these are over
We're not
$1,000
buying another one.
Yeah, and these are over $1,000 a piece. So,
And the other thing, we did get an issue or concern in the report about putting out a list of where they are.
Yep. And
We've
that's on my,
published that
that's
so
on,
many times.
yeah, and that's on my to-do list to get it out there, and I'll probably do it in conjunction with the newsletter, so that people
It's
know.
been done so many times, but
Well,
it's
now
hard
that
to
we-
keep it up.
Now that we have those security cameras hidden all over the park, we should be able to catch this guy who's stealing this stuff.
Sure.
Or this person,
This person, yeah.
this individual.
Yeah,
Then I'll confront them.
but we'll look into
Okay, thank you, I
No, but
appreciate.
we'll look into a course, because you're not the first person, and I think the demand is there.
Well, the
so.
last time that we offered the course, we had minimal to none respond. So it takes something like this to make it people
Right.
aware, so.
Right.
And if you do the whole shooting match for to get a card for a 2-year thing.
Oh, I know, that's.
I mean, that's
it's
$50
4
bucks,
hours.
$50 a person,
Yeah,
and
it's
nobody's gonna pay it.
Because there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the American Heart Association will do that. You can find people to do
Right.
that, so.
There is a cost.
Thank
Okay.
you.
President Advisory, Mr. Geisman.
Thank you. The next couple of months are gonna be very busy around here. The road work for Snowy Plover, Purple Martin, Sly Fox, and part of Big Cypress where it attaches to Sly Fox is gonna be repaved, starting at the end.
As
of
in
April.
milled and repaved? They're gonna take it down?
Or top
No,
coat.
Or just a top
just
coat?
top. Sly Fox will be taken down. And then they're gonna take the excess that they scrape up and lay it down in the RV court for a nice path. But there's gonna be a lot of work, road work being done, and then the curbs and the concrete work that needs to be done in the front of the building here will all be done at the same time.
Are you retiring?
Yes. So that's the capital. I got bad news about the equipment for the gym. That budget that got approved this year is being moved to the 2026 budget. So the equipment will not happen this year.
And that's where you're getting your paving project, so you don't care you got it for phase 12, huh? Okay. Storm
So
drains.
next month, the storm drains are all gonna be flushed and cleaned by Fox Plumbing right before the hurricane season.
Okay, now I have a question about the ones that they have dug up, like there's one on Cypress Cross, there's one over in Prestwick, there's a couple around. Is that down here somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was told that last week they were gonna camera them to see
I don't
what,
think that
if there was
happened.
anything
Okay.
broken in there.
Right.
And that they would all be repaired by the end of April.
okay, now I understood, this is what Robert told me, that they're going to be lined. Rather than digging up those drains to the pond that they drain to, they're putting some kind of a liner in there to salvage
'cause
it, and
digging
it's
up
cheap,
would
but
be-
it's expensive.
Would be a mess,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and not only that, they'd probably cut power lines and cable lines and everything else to do it, because it's like spaghetti under the sod. So, do they have money approved for that, or is that,
He hasn't said anything, but he told me that they were gonna be taken care of by the end of April.
so that's this one, end of April's another week,
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks, sorry. And what about on Grackle Loop? They did camera those, right?
Yeah, now, I have a note here.
I'm sorry, do you want to do this in
That's
order?
all right.
I'm making you jump around.
Grackle Loop drains, everything is as it should be according to Fox Plumbing and Engineering. That was the exact statement that Robert gave me.
Okay, so so Grackle goes like this. This side drains to the other side to that little pond is where it's going to?
Yeah,
That doesn't make
and
any
they
sense to
cambered
me.
it, and according to Fox.
And the water
they think
level is
it's
the same
fine.
all the way through?
Yeah. Now, when the hurricane comes, I'm sure there's gonna be people screaming again like they did last year. Because that one right in the middle of the road on Grackle just fills right up.
In front of Hayes and Woolers and that area? Okay.
Okay, the other big thing that's gonna be going on, I don't know if there's any tennis players, but the tennis court is gonna be resurfaced.
Ooh,
And it's gonna be shut down from August through October.
Wow.
Makes sense.
So they can take over the pickleball course like they did, right?
No, they're not big enough.
I'm just kidding. I'm
unfortunately.
just kidding. I'm just
They're
kidding.
But the problem
I'm just
is,
kidding.
once they resurface it, it has to.
Living
cure
dangerously.
I know I am.
A couple months before you can use it. I don't know if there's anybody here that plays tennis, but there's a couple big holes and cracks in it. And a couple people have tripped and fallen on the cracks and stuff like that. So that'll be sometime, probably the beginning of August, and be shut down for a couple months.
something on Facebook about that tonight.
Yeah, no.
Signage, they're making new signage for the north gate, and it's gonna be in English and Spanish.
Good.
We're also getting, there was a pole in the front of the building here that got knocked over that says carts only in the first two spaces. I don't know if they got the new one up, but that one's being replaced.
I saw one leaning against a tree or something out there, but I don't know if it's...
Yeah, I don't think they spent it in yet.
The CAP Neighborhood Watch one by the gate on Curlew, somebody ran over it and broke the fence post off and leaned it against the gate, which makes no sense because, so anyway, I took it in the office. I need a new fence post. I'm not going to buy my own fence post. I'm still out the money for the AED stuff,
And that's the one in front of the,
CAP building.
where the mailboxes are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody get their mail out there? Did they fix that for sure? That mailbox is back in operation? Nobody
Which one?
knows.
Where?
At Curlew. They had it
Yes,
closed.
it's fixed.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it? Okay, thank you. I forgot to look
I'll
at
take
it.
a look at that.
You're getting your money back, right?
I hope so.
The
It's
gate
not
at the
$200.
dumpster has been fixed to go out instead of in. The drain issues on Common Loom, Preswick and that we talked about, that's all supposed to be done by the end of April.
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you. Common Loom?
Common Loom,
What about it?
they're supposed to redo that where the house was taken out.
Yeah?
They're gonna redo that drain.
Because it was-
it's draining the opposite way into the house.
Yeah. there's
So
a
before they
machine
can
sitting there
replace
now.
that house, they have to do that.
There's a machine sitting there now, John?
Yeah, it just showed up today. It's a little tiny thing, but it's there.
And that's supposed to be done by the end of April, George?
That's what he says.
Yes, according to the boss.
Okay.
Big Cypress Lake with the algae has been treated 3 times already, and the algae is slowly disappearing, but they're gonna come back and retreat it. They were supposed to do it last week, and then they'll do it again in 2 weeks.
This is the one in back of Leonard's and Jenny Baker.
Jenny
Yeah,
Baker,
I saw
okay.
that email from Troy.
The lights that are burned out in several locations that were reported for the
Shuffleboard.
shuffleboard and that are being replaced. There's somebody going around checking those. The CAP building, I was told that they're getting a quote for the mold and also a quote for possibly painting the inside of the, but I'm still waiting to hear about the quote. The fountain in the front lake is being repaired. I think there's parts ordered. And the last thing again was the tennis courts are going to be resurfaced. Oh, yeah, most of it down trees. The crews have been going around getting them out.
You're talking about ones that have fallen on the edge of the bay
In
heads?
the water, wetlands.
Okay.
Yeah. They were here last week and went around and gave Robert a quote. And I don't know if by mistake if he sent me the quote, but I saw the quote for
It
the,
was bad, wasn't
it was quite a bit.
Sure it was.
it? Okay. Any questions, anybody? You've been busy. Don't retire early.
Tired of all.
Gonna be a,
Don't retire at all.
Gonna be a
You got a roll going here.
gonna be a rough summer.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, talk to us about membership.
Well, for membership for March, we had like 14 renewals. I sent out 18. I had 14 renew. We had 13 new memberships for March, but I lost 12. 8 members due to non-renewals, and 4 actually lost because they moved out of the park. So we only gained 1 member on my roster from 925 last month to 926 this month for March. So we're at 57.73%. I've already sent out all the renewals for April, May, June, July, August, and September. They are out and, been delivered already through in-park mail to everybody. I'm going to probably use the email system and just kind of like put out a reminder saying, people, you may have gotten it early, but don't forget if you're going to be heading north, I don't want to have to send stuff through the mail, constantly, postage and everything, trying to get things done with renewals. So I'm going to send out an email just trying to do a little reminder for everybody, just in case you already have your renewal sitting on the counter and forget about it.
In that email that you send out, could you also put on there, add on there that if you're not renewed until September, you don't have to renew in September, and you're leaving in May, you can go ahead and renew, but it's not going to take effect until your actual end of your current one, because that was asked by somebody when I was in the office the other day, so.
I will do that. For April right now, the month we're working on, I sent out 17 renewals. 6 have renewed so far, and 1 has moved out of the park.
Right.
So I'm just working on April's right now, so that's all I
Okay.
got so far.
All right. Okay, statutory.
So we, statutory committee held our first meeting a couple weeks ago, and
This
started-
is just to get your ducks in a row on what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and really to come up with a strategy. So we did that. Odette Caduto has volunteered to serve as a backup, and I do want to bring that name to the board. I'll need a motion and a second to vote her as a backup. She's going to be the backup person in case somebody's sick in July and we want to field a full team for Cove management. So I'll do that in a second. And then lastly, the April CPI came out on the 10th. It is trending below 5%, so I think it was 2 point something. The statutory committee watches that. If you look at your prospectus, the lot rent increase is 5% or consumer price index, whichever is greater. So I would count on 5% right now. I don't expect May's to go above 5. So just to kind of paint that picture, because it's bound to happen sometime in the future, is if the consumer price index is 7%, meaning that prices jump 7%, Cove has the right to increase our lot rent by 7%.
We had this during COVID, it was over 5%.
Yeah.
One of the years
So-
since I've been here, it was
8.9.
over,
Right.
it was over 5%
Right,
because of
so-
CPI.
Yeah, so just, we're watching CPI.
I don't agree with that. I don't think it's whichever is greater. I think it's a cap of 5%.
It's 5,
No, no, no.
5% for CPI, whichever is greater.
Okay, okay.
5% or the,
Toby, what month do you guys lock in on? What
April.
agreement is it?
April.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, it is April.
It's the April one, so,
Okay.
I mean, I watch it May and June,
Yeah, it's
just
not gonna go up.
because they've gotta get everything out by the end of June.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's April CPI.
so right now it's 2.7 and
2
they're not
point
gonna come
something.
down.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah, so it'll be 5%.
Well, they won't come down like blue.
Yeah.
You can only hope that
Rebates? Oh, yeah.
So I do need a motion to.
Okay, would you just make sure though, because I'm chasing Mike for membership. They are not current members. Okay, so before.
Has to be a member.
She has to be a member of the HOA to be on the committee.
Okay.
But he's supposed to be bringing me a check on Friday.
Okay,
Okay, so your motion is to put Odette on, that'll give you 6 people for the committee?
correct.
Okay, second, anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Do you want another one? Do you need another one?
I ran with one last year. I remember.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, and I think you are also up next with regarding your social media draft.
Yeah, so, last month, we circulated the social media draft. Wanted everybody really just to go and take a look at it. The goal for those that weren't here last month, the goal of a social media policy for the HOA Board of Directors is really just to manage conduct of the HOA. We talked about Facebook a few minutes ago. You know, even though I am me on Facebook, I still represent the HOA of Cypress Lakes Village. So I am very careful about what I say or don't say on social media. And we can debate this, right, wrong, or indifferent, freedom of speech, so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, and again, coming from corporate America, it's the same way. I work for a major bank. I am also very cognizant of the fact that I represent that bank even when I'm not specifically doing something for the bank. So we put this policy out there. I wanted to get the board's feel on it, if it's something that we want to adopt going forward, and what people thought.
We had it last month.
Yeah, everybody got it last month, so, and I don't have a copy either, so I mean, if we need to table it, we can, you know, that's not a big deal. But, did anybody recall reading it?
I read it. I read it.
I read it. We have no issues because I don't post on social.
There you go.
I really do.
The only problem that I have with it is, just like anything, you have to be able to enforce it.
Right.
And I'm not, I cannot get caught up in the drama on Facebook. It just pisses me off completely most of the time. And so, in order to enforce it, somebody has to monitor it, okay? And that's where it gets out of hand. It's like,
I have it here.
I don't see how we can, we can make it a policy, but I don't know who's gonna be available to do anything. Can
Well,
you
the
make us
problem is that there's just not Facebook, there's 20 others.
all the other
Right,
things, yes.
Right. I mean, the only way that we could do is if somebody monitors and reports to the president of the HOA an infraction.
I think it's
So what
going
do I
over-
do, fire him?
It's going over the top.
You're allowed to.
I mean, it's common sense, whether you, and I'm guilty too a lot, because sometimes I bite my lip and try not to comment, but sometimes I just do it anyway, just to whatever. But to have somebody physically do that, monitor it, and do that, that's gonna be an absolute nightmare, not only for what we have to deal with already, but an added responsibility that we just don't need, personally.
Yep.
And the other thing is, okay, so I'll use the incident with Katrina as an example. Okay, she put it on Facebook. Okay, is that an incident report? No, it's not on that piece of paper.
Right.
But it was reported to somebody, you know. And there was another incident, the dog thing at the dog park, that they were attacked by a dog or whatever it was. And that was an email directly to management and HOA, but it wasn't an incident report, and nobody did anything unless the incident report was filled out. So, I don't know, it's just like,
And I'm not advocating.
we're volunteers, I mean, we
Yeah,
can
I'm
only
not
do so
advocating
much.
one way or the other. It was something that was on my to-do list. I
Yeah.
wanted to get it out
I
there
asked you to do
because,
it, yeah.
because social media is out of control. It's
is.
just out of control. And I think we as a board have to have some sort of decorum on how we respond to things on Facebook. But to your point, it's like the rules and regs. If you can't enforce it, what good is it?
What's the point of having it?
Yep.
So,
Okay, can we do this? Everybody, please, if you haven't read it, read it. Maybe talk to friends in other communities, see if they have any input of how it's controlled or not controlled there. I'd love to say, yeah, we need to implement it, but I don't know how to enforce it. I really don't. And then take it under advisement next month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just too many sites to monitor. I mean, there's probably 15 in this community alone.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I mean, there really is. So
There is,
you can't control that. You
Right.
just have to, it's an individual situation, as you as an individual, what you want to say and how you want to say it. And there are ways to say stuff without being a knucklehead. So I find that hard sometimes, but it happens.
Okay. All right, let's carry that forward. And if you need another copy, Toby?
I can email another, I'll
Okay.
email another
I've
copy.
got it,
Send-
but
All
So
right,
I can email it out to you.
I'll need
okay.
it. I have to.
Oh, FMO updates. Hey, if you have not kept up with your FMO membership, how many in here are members of FMO? Oh my gosh, I see a lot of people who are not. Okay, so just to get you up to date, there is a House bill that is being considered tomorrow morning before 11 o'clock to provide local assistance for those individuals. We're not talking about HUD, we're not talking about rent control, we're talking about if somebody has got problems paying their lot rent, that they're going to be able to tap into this if it goes through. I mean, so far it's sailed through, and and they've got funding for it. This is something that FMO has really pushed hard for. There used to be a program like this in Polk County. It went by the wayside when the rents started to go up, but it is something that is very important to people like in our community. You know, just think about the people that are 95 years old and they've kind of outlived all their resources, and they need to be able to maintain, if they can, where they're living. Because if you go outside of here and you start all over someplace else, you're going to start, if you're at this level now, you're going to start up here. It's just crazy. So that is something that FMO has been working on. We had our FMO District 1 meeting last Thursday here. The guy who was our speaker, Brian Ruiz, is the Economic Development Coordinator for Lakeland. Extremely interested in everything he had to say. For example, did you know that Polytech, the college out there on I-4, is in the city of Lakeland?
In the city.
It's in the city. The city limits go out that far. The land was given to the city by a Mr. Williams some years ago for a college for engineering and computer stuff. I don't even know what the words are. And all of that land around it is for R&D and manufacturing for things like AI, all that. They don't want truck places out there. They don't want warehouses. That is what that land is specifically for.
STEM, okay.
STEM, yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
STEM.
It is amazing. And I asked about extending the city limits northward because it would be nice to have the city limits closer to us, and maybe then we could get Citrus Connection out here for buses. And he said, but you don't have any manufacturing out here. You got housing. And he said, that does not generate enough revenue to justify it. But he did give me a contact at Citrus Connection, and maybe we can work something out. I don't know, I'm working on that, but probably not, but at least it'll be worth a try. Extremely interesting. And then, of course, today I heard that the land that they cleared out so quickly on the west side of 98 before you get to Daughtry, okay, is for Costco in the front and apartments behind it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody whose son works at the one in Wesley Chapel said that he is involved with it, so.
I thought
Nice.
the story was gonna take that.
I don't know. I love the rumor. I love the rumor. And the information that he gave me was that I said, well, gee, that's awful close to Sam's Club, although I can point to other Costco's that are close to Sam's Club. And he said it wasn't Sam's Club that fought it, it was Publix, that they didn't want it across from them. So we'll see.
Nice.
They're digging up dirt everywhere, so let's see what they got. In conjunction with the FMO, however, if you are members of FMO, or even if you're not, FMO has a paid lobbyist. It's the only people on the staff that are paid. Everybody else is volunteers, just like the HOA. Nancy Black Stewart in Tallahassee. She is the one who goes to the various legislators and says, okay, we've got this bill, we need to get it through however we can do it, specifically for manufactured homes on leased land, okay? This woman is dynamite, and I have got her coming on the 19th of May as a speaker to tell us kind of overall what she sees as happening with these real estate investment trusts that are buying all the parks, the market rate stuff. She's not a proponent or a knowledgeable person for 723. She is about FMO and what they can do. And I think it will be valuable for anybody to listen to. I'll make sure it's in the newsletter and we'll get stuff out there. But I'm excited to have her with us. I have to buy her lunch, so I'm taking out donations. She's driving down from Tallahassee. Okay, upcoming events, I think you all have the April and May calendars, and know that, we're kind of tapering off. The volunteer appreciation dinner went very well. I appreciate everybody who was there. We had 94 people that came to that. I think we were under budget, weren't we, Wayne? A little bit?
Yeah, $80.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Hey, that's good.
Oh, I don't,
Can I apply that to the insurance? Yeah.
no, I didn't mean it like it sounded.
Anyway,
Good savings.
I did not include the photo directory people who are working their butts off to make sure that things are done there. And we'll probably have to have something come up the fall for them, because they've done a lot of work. So we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, Bill LeBrun is not here tonight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I guess he wants to know.
Well, if he answered his phone and he answered his messages, he would know. So,
Do you have the number?
yes, he does. As far as recycling, what we got
Recycling,
for
what they got
that.
for the
We got
aluminum?
73 cents a pound.
1191,
Yeah,
$1,191.
we got 73
There you go.
cents a pound. Just
That's
what-
cool. That's a
73
lot.
cents, $1,190.
Keep drinking that beer.
Yeah.
We had like
So
40
thank you, John Miller, and all residents who are helping with
Part of
loading
that.
that.
That's
That's great.
The insurance.
And so I had somebody, yeah, John?
Yes, since Bill's not here, I did have a question I wanted to ask. It was brought up previous meeting about the resident appreciation dinner, that we need to have more cans out there.
And we bought
With
some.
this new format, we still need the cans for that? Because it's gonna be in the grill and in the hall.
Well,
What are they giving us to drink? Cans of
They'll
soda?
still have cans of soda that are passed out. That's what you'll get,
We'll still need-
besides the beer outside, yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't know where those new cans are that we bought. Do you have them?
They're in the pool, around the pool.
Okay,
They're in place.
so we're gonna need,
We've got some more older cans we can clean up and.
okay, and maybe have in the hall and maybe up at the grill? Okay, because you can eat it anywhere like that.
The other thing, we're gonna be starting in May, a program where we will pick up every other day. Right now, we pick up every day, some volunteer picks up every day. Starting May 11th, we'll pick up every other day, which I work up a schedule that each volunteer, instead of doing it once a week, he does about twice a month, because we pick up every day, that schedule.
And is that enough in the summertime with the less
We
people?
just don't get enough cans, and
Okay.
if you don't have a lot of cans, the compactor doesn't really work, it's not efficient. You almost need at least 2 barrels, bins of cans, 3 is better, actually good.
Those of us who are here have to drink more.
I'm ready. But this, no glass though.
You are, that's right.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, old business, photo directory,
Excuse me, you didn't
Oh.
have the welcome committee?
where is the welcome committee? Did I pass over it?
They're not there.
Sorry.
Take it away, ladies.
They have their report.
Yeah, well, we contacted 6 people last month. And this month doesn't seem to be, there's been one new resident. I've gotten a couple sheets, but they're all like 2024 or have already been in the system, so.
Okay.
I know
So,
there's one right there at Curlew and Big Cypress. He
What's
just
his-
moved in.
Well, we may not have gotten it yet. You can ask.
Are you on
It
time
can be
again?
months
When the
sometimes.
office fills them out?
Okay, well, he
put them
moved
on
in,
box.
yeah, he actually moved in about, it's right at the corner of, not Curlew, I'm sorry, Big Cypress
Sunburn.
and
Oh.
the North Gate.
Little Cypress.
Yeah, where I had to wait for the
Truck.
8-foot alligator today to cross in front of me.
Oh,
He got tired after he got across
And he
and
had to
stopped
wait?
on the other side, just got in the grass, his tail stayed out. And then he just flaps on the grass for about 2 or 3 minutes before he got up to walk back.
And no
Of course,
water
there's
around.
water. So, but there's a new resident just moved in there, so.
so you don't think we'll have a good turnout?
who knows?
Okay, all right.
We'll do a mailing from I'll send out whoever I have from January, even though we had one in February. And we'll see.
Of those that didn't come, you mean, yeah, okay. Okay. Anything else?
Good. I already talked about the
Meet and greet.
meet and greet in May.
How's your booklets holding up? Obviously well, because you're not passing many of them out.
Right, right. We're still good. I think there's 75.
Okay. Okay. Photo directory. We still have May 5 and 6, and hopefully 7 for available slots. The 20, I don't know what the dates are, the last week, next week, they'll be in the lobby Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to make more appointments. Has everybody on the board gotten theirs done? Yay.
Except for me.
Yes.
I couldn't get any dates on my phone.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this is the last go-around for spring, and then we'll do it again in the fall. Hopefully get as many people as we can identified.
Oh, you know, excuse me, there are still some of the old books in the cupboard.
I know. I still got some in the closet, too. And I got the time before last still in the closet, too. Okay, resident survey, Doug, I haven't heard.
It's on hold.
I haven't
on hold
heard,
until,
and I haven't seen anything from them as far as a survey.
No, I know they put one out, but I don't think it went to everybody, I don't think.
I took it.
I did too.
So did I.
Yeah.
So I don't-
Does everybody know what we're, did you get something from Cove?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Not everyone got it.
Well,
Raise your hand if you got something.
It was in my junk, so someone
Yeah.
might have not received it if it was in spam or junk.
So we're just waiting to see if they even let us know if there's results or not.
I didn't get anything. What is it with my email?
I don't know.
Mine was in my spam.
I don't think everybody got it. I think they had some kind of random generator.
Oh, you mean it didn't go to everybody?
That's
Well-
right.
Well, I'm feeling rather insulted then,
Well, you're not on the list.
I guess.
Well, they said you complained too much.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it. They didn't want to have my comments, did they? I'll check into that, Doug.
Yeah, but, we're just,
Okay, so they did this once before, they said. Is that, did we get a report? Did anybody see what the results of it were?
yeah, I'm sure they've got it hidden in Arizona somewhere.
Okay.
We can ask for that.
We could ask, what's the worst they could tell us?
Would you do that?
Yeah.
When's your next RAC meeting?
May 14th or something like that.
What's coming up? Okay. Inquiring minds need to know, tell them. Okay, summer hours, John?
We've got it covered. George volunteered to cover every day, so.
Wow, George.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pam, did you want to
You
talk
weren't there.
about
That
this?
was the other George.
Okay.
No.
So what?
No. We have people assigned. We will be open limited hours as we have been in the past. Not open on Fridays. We will be open limited hours, 2-hour periods on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If necessary, we can be open one evening for a couple hours.
We should be.
We should.
So even though talking to somebody who's currently been there in the evenings, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't, why do we have to cover,
Because people work.
Well,
okay, so I have the data. I've been doing it now for pretty close to 3 months. I've had one customer. And I just think, I have no problem, cutting it back, but I just don't see the value add, to be honest with you.
I see that we're not serving our people. If you don't make something available, they're going to assume you're not
I mean,
there.
we have a couple of volunteers
I
who will do the
volunteered for
evenings. Yeah, I know
Wednesday
you did.
night.
Okay,
I know
that's
you
fine.
did.
because
So,
that's when I prepared the deposit after the big.
yeah, you don't have to do it, Wayne, but I know there's been.
I know
very
there's
activity.
people sitting at this table who have 3-hour shift and they may have 2 customers during the week.
Yeah.
I just don't see I understand we're customer oriented, but if they're not making use of it, I think,
Well, there's always
again,
things to do.
I don't want to speak for, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, there'll only be 2 hours in the summertime. Whatever.
So do we have enough people to cover it?
Yes.
Thursday after.
What day am I?
I've had response from you, from George,
Thursday
from
afternoon,
Chris.
I hardly get anybody.
Yeah.
And when the lifestyle office closes, nobody shows up.
I know, and Mark told me he never had anybody on Friday, and I've been Friday all summer, or
Friday
what are
morning.
we in, morning?
Now,
Yeah.
Thursday morning this past week, I had, it was either 8 or 9 people.
I had a bunch of, I get a bunch of them on Friday.
There's nobody. The only person I see is Wayne.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there, because I had people on Wednesday nights that come in, oh, Gwen's not here, well, I'll come back.
Well, that's what I was
Well,
gonna do.
then, so you say, well, how can I help you?
Well, we
And I
do,
agree,
but
I
they,
agree, yeah,
We do.
which I did.
but sometimes they say, no, I've talked to Gwen,
Correct.
This is why I'm going off the board.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I hear too.
Okay.
You know, if Gwen's not here, no, she'll be in Friday morning.
Okay, so you got coverage on all of
So
them.
here's the question, when are we gonna start?
Can we do it May 1st?
So are we doing mornings, no afternoons?
It's 9 to 11, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Just mornings, 9 to 11,
And then the Wednesday evening?
and one
Evening.
one evening,
and otherwise by appointment.
otherwise by appointment.
So because I responded to the email, I don't know what you decided. I
Well,
volunteered
that,
Wednesday nights 5 to 7, so is
yeah,
that
you
me?
did.
Perfect.
That'll be you.
No, I'm in the
Okay,
deposit for the week.
that'll be you, except for the 2 weeks that you told me you're gone. First 2 weeks of
Well,
June,
the
I
whole month of
think.
July.
In July.
And there's another time too, but you gave me when you're
I
here
did my own
tonight.
summer
So
school.
do you have people assigned for the days?
I haven't given them to them yet, because somebody changed some things.
What did I change?
You said you want to work. I wasn't gonna have you doing anything.
Oh, I want to work.
But she
I'll
wanted
be
to
down there anyway, so.
She wanted to be here anyway, so I didn't have
Give
her
me
on the
Friday morning, I
schedule.
don't care.
Monday through Thursday?
It says Monday through Thursday.
Okay,
Starting in May.
publish
Yeah,
it,
we'll
publish
take
it
care
and tell
of, there'll
us.
be somebody there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Starting in May.
Can we start this May 1?
May 1st?
As far as
Yes,
I'm
let's just start
concerned,
it.
we can, and that'll be, and I will let every board member know, and I know when you're not gonna be here, somebody will cover your
Huh?
time.
5 to 7. 5 to 7.
Not mention it to-
And we chose karaoke night because
I
we
gotta get this
figured,
scheduled.
you know, they'll come and see us and then go up to karaoke.
Starting this May 1st.
Hey, Gwen,
Yo.
May 1st is a Thursday, so we wanna start that week or the next week?
Let's start the week,
Start the week after.
start the week
So
after.
that would be
Start the week-
After the May board meeting.
What?
May
I
5th.
thought we always started this after the May board meeting. That's what we did in the past.
We're starting early.
Maybe.
So May 5th, we're gonna start?
Sure.
Yes, May 5th. May
I just
5th.
traded with Chris and now she doesn't have to work.
May 5th. May 5th is the first full week. Let's start May
She's
5th.
a strong negotiator.
May 5th.
All right, May 5th.
Okay,
Okay.
next topic.
Wednesday nights, 5 to 7.
Five.
Bingo. Bonnie Tokus called me, Bonnie Cochran also called me. And they're asking if they can operate bar bingo, since it's going to be under the bingo laws, in the main hall under the HOA. Okay, so the first, well, there's lots of considerations. The HOA, under statute 849, can operate bingo 2 times a week. Okay, so we already have one. That would be a second one. There are specific rules, and I made a copy for you, Bonnie, so you can see what they are. Like maximum payouts are $250 on a game, all kinds of stuff like that. The question is, all right, and so I don't know at this point, and I don't know if you know, Bonnie, whether they're planning to resume anything in the fall up here in the grill or not.
He said that, I have no idea.
We would be required, I was in the meeting also, we will be required to get a permit.
A permit to do it because of the liquor license? Okay, and we don't have a liquor
Whoa,
license.
whoa, whoa.
Wait.
What do you mean?
In the main hall, there's no liquor.
No. And
No.
if
She
we
was
have it at the
asking
grill.
about,
Oh, the
For
grill,
the grill,
right, yeah.
for the
I
grill.
don't think it should be in the grill. If we're gonna do it, we should just leave it in the main hall, because if they're gonna do it in the grill, then they are going to do it, not Bonnie, because that was a total different program. If they're gonna do it in there, then that's something Robert will run through his folks, and they will do it in there, if that's what they're gonna do. I don't see that happening, especially if we're gonna do it in the main hall. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, I'm just giving you the groundwork so far.
Gotcha.
I don't understand how the liquor's gonna work in the main hall.
It isn't.
There
It's not,
Oh,
there isn't.
okay.
We
That's-
can't have
there
liquor.
is none.
Because we have no
We don't have a license.
liability for
No.
liquor.
Right.
There isn't any.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a BYOB thing, but if I'm bringing my little
I'm
Kool-Aid.
not going to, I'm not going to do a
Right.
test on your.
Right, if I'm bringing my Kool-Aid cup, it's my Kool-Aid.
There you go.
I'm gonna
Unless you become a.
Well, right, she may test it, yeah. But no, there won't be any bottles of wine out, there won't be anybody with Jello shots, none of that like we do on entertainment. It's straight up, no
Like
alcohol.
regular bingo.
How do you
Right.
keep the
Regular.
costs below 250?
Huh?
We-
You just continue, what you do is, we divide the money in $100 groups, and then we'll have more than one winner for that
That's-
5-card.
That's a wonderful thing. We were talking about that. This is say, at one point it was like $420. Well, there's two, we're playing first place 220, second place 220, which means that game doesn't end after the first person wins. Check, good, keep your cards. We're gonna continue on for the next one.
winner.
Boom, 2 people win, and there's your money difference.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, the biggest issue is getting the main hall.
Correct, that would be.
So, and we want to have it like evening-ish, 4 to 6, something like that, 5 to
I'd
7?
like to do it Mondays 4 to 6.
Not gonna happen.
But I totally understand that it wouldn't be every single Monday. So it would have to be, talking with Jeanette, because 2026 is already planned out. Talking with Jeanette, it might have to be a different night.
Yeah, that's going to be confusing for people.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get as good a
But they like it
response.
well enough, I think, when they'll still go.
Yeah, and when you get in the season, that's the problem. You know, we have entertainment on Thursday nights, we have things happening on Friday, you know, whether it's curtain time or whatever is on Friday nights.
Sunday nights, there's nothing, correct?
I thought Starlight Courage does Mondays, something. Are they
Well,
always
there's
available?
all kinds of
Starlight
things
Courage,
on
I
Mondays.
thought
There are auxiliaries on Monday.
Auxiliary, you've
We
got
got-
current time players.
Yeah, there's lots of
We've
things.
got our board meeting once a month.
How about Sunday night?
Well, at this point, I didn't even look at Sunday nights, to be honest with you, because I didn't even think of that. But I was trying to think it during the week, because that's kind of when people are used to doing it. So those are considerations. And this young lady and her committee would be, this would be something, just like our Patty Wagner and her committee runs the Tuesday night bingo, would have to be similar and have, again, rules and things that they have to follow. So,
Is this-
do we
is the-
want to consider it? That's my question.
Is the definition of this bingo the same as what we,
It's under the same bingo laws,
Same
yes.
under the same bingo law?
Correct, yeah,
Okay,
yes.
someone has researched that.
What about food?
They can bring snacks in, or the auxiliary could cook hot dogs or something.
One more night.
Maybe we could share that, Maggie.
I think that's a great idea.
Who said something about a license? There's not a license for the HOA.
Isn't there a gambling license for this whole thing?
Under the HOA, which is statute, whatever I told you, 849, there is not a license. But you have to make sure that you have, just like Patty has, there's a sheet that you fill out. This is the money that comes in, this is how it's paid out, this is what is held for
So nobody makes any
cards and
You're right, there's
daughters
no
and
bank.
stuff like, there's no bank.
There's no bank. Everything that's taken in will be paid out every game, just like they do now.
Except as
Except.
you need supplies. Okay, so you might have something held back for new cards or something, or laminating or whatever you're, you know. But at the end of the year, you have to reconcile, and anything that's left in that you're not going to be using has to go to a 501c3. That's the rule. That's what the 849 says. So, do you have a question, Maggie?
I do have a question. What about, the veterans and auxiliary, we started the 50/50 in the games. Now, we do qualify, we do get all of our contributions go straight to 501c3s. And when we met with Robert, he asked us what we have to submit, and I have submitted the letters. Would we be able to continue to do that?
When we get back to having our tax exemption number, our 501c7. At this point, no. At this point, no, because were you here last month?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's what we are working with an accountant to get everything up to date. Once we get everything up to date, then we'll file for the 501c7 again, and then we would be okay to go forward with that. But under the, what is it, 1120? rules, and we can't do that until then. So that's gonna be a while. Sorry to say. Okay, so the question is for the board, do we want to bring this under the HOA umbrella? Or do we need to get more information? Do you want me to go to the attorneys and get their blessing on this? I'm not
sure what calendar you folks are on, but I think we need a ruling from the attorney on this, because when I saw bingo, but it's not really bingo, it's bar bingo, right? And again, I don't want to get into the nuances, but I want a ruling from AJ, because that guy thinks differently than I do. And number two, I want to get this accounting issue behind us. And I don't want, because there are some limitations with our liability policy, because the veterans are now, have always been under our tax ID, but they were not covered by our liability. Now that they are, but there are some certain limitations, and we're well under this limitation today.
Right.
But I know you people are great salespeople, and you'll be printing money, basically. And so that makes me just a little bit nervous. So I need to get the current work we got going with the accounting firm behind us. I'd like to have an opinion from AJ. This is just Wayne Letourneau speaking now. I'm not speaking for the board, but
I think it would behoove us to have something in writing from the attorneys.
I mean, we just talked about how you're covered under directors and officers liability insurance, but only if things are.
And Bonnie, can you get me, do you have history of revenues and payouts and nothing?
No, because whatever we bring in, we give it back to whoever.
There was no cash value.
You won't be reporting anything, because they're not even gonna have a bank account.
yeah, I don't even hear the word
Is it
revenue.
even?
No, there isn't any. There isn't any. It's, there's no money, the money collected
Yes, right.
gets paid to the winner of that game.
But
And-
we as directors and officers are responsible for any type of things being done
understand.
properly and legally.
Well, just
so I'd rather have
like with bingo, we have a line item for bingo.
Right,
So,
What
yeah,
about,
but I'd like AJ's opinion on this.
what about non-residents coming in?
oh, you never,
We can't let
you
them.
cannot, no.
Cannot.
So they can't.
It's for residents only, just like, Now, if my sister comes from Ohio and wants to play that night, that's okay, but it is not open to the public.
No, yeah. Visitors who are visiting people who live in the park, who are residents of the park only.
Okay, so,
Does it follow the Florida bingo rules?
they would have to, they'd have to have reporting weekly, this is the amount taken in, this is the amount paid out, this is the
Before they start,
difference.
they would have to read
Read that
the bingo
disclaimer.
rules
Sure,
before they start.
and they have to be HOA members, and that's not a problem, I'm sure. Okay, so, does that, let's say that it ran as much as what our bingo does now, would that throw us over this magic number?
Well, it's not going to run anything because they pay everything out.
Yeah, there's no
Well, we pay
bank.
everything out now,
Yeah.
but it still shows as your revenue, right? It's on your income.
No, then the answer is no.
And the answer is no.
We're not going to take him.
Way over. I just thought we wouldn't report
No,
it.
there's no
Well, it'd
income.
be the same thing as what we have
I'm not a
now.
CPA, I don't know, that's why,
I mean, we would.
I don't know, how's it working now? Since you guys were under Robert before?
Yeah, we do nothing. We buy the supplies, or the residents bring us in the cards.
Right.
Extra cards, but
Yeah.
like I said, I'm gonna collect $2 from each one of you, and whoever wins is gonna get that money.
No, I understand that portion of it, but
It's just a much bigger scale than when someone's playing handy and foot, and they all give $1 in and you get your dollar back. This is just a much larger scale, but we don't report any of those monies taken in for any of the other
I understand, but if
games.
it's under bingo, it's gotta be reported just like this,
Well, then
like
we're
ours
way over
is.
the threshold.
Well, it's
of-
only
of
expenses.
qualifying for a tax
Something else.
exempt.
There's no income.
There's no income though.
There's no
But you
income.
do on a tax.
Again,
on
I'm not-
return,
On a
you have to
tax
do things
return, there is
gross.
income and then there's expense.
I know that.
so again, I'm not a CPA. I'm not, so if you're asking for my decision tonight, the answer is no. But I would prefer to delay the decision without impacting these guys for at least, it's gonna probably take 2 months. And then once we have the answers, then, I'd be okay with proceeding if the accountants are on board, the lawyer's on board. But right now, I'm a little skittish, to be honest with you.
Okay, any other comments, anybody?
How is it bar bingo and no bar?
Huh?
They just named it bar
They just named
bingo.
it bar
Okay.
bingo, it's bar games
It's
or whatever.
basically bingo with playing cards.
In a
I mean,
bar.
Sitting in a bar. I mean, that's seriously what it is.
Bar games.
Bar game.
Bar games, yes, that's all it is.
What was the thing, okay, so I think I got this from Heather, and it had to do with a liquor license, something about they had to have more
They
than
had to have
50%?
60%
Food.
food and 40% liquor, and it wasn't.
That worked out on
Yeah,
Tuesday night.
It didn't work out
Oh,
that
it didn't?
way.
Oh.
But I think they're taking into account the golfers that come in and drink and don't buy food.
But they don't necessarily play bingo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay, so I'm gonna get hold of AJ and I'll write up something so he can respond back to it. And what about the accountants?
The accountants would have to ask, if we have to report gross revenues and gross expenses paying out, we would never qualify for tax exempt again, I don't think. Because so much of your income has to come from members' dues and some other thresholds, not.
Well, this will be
type of
coming from
revenue.
members.
It's not dues. I mean, we'll have to ask them that. We're not experts on this.
Okay. All right, I'll write to AJ tomorrow, get something back, and then I'll give it to you guys and you can cover it with the accountants.
Yeah,
Is there
because
anything else we need to just, I mean, this is a separate group of people. It's not, we're not gonna be asked to go do this.
no, right.
No.
It's just that they want to be covered under the umbrella of the HOA certificate, basically. And there's no bank, there's no nothing. It's everybody who wants to play shows up
Yeah,
and
we
pays $2 and
we
they get straight back
understand all
out. So
that.
that's,
Just do we have to report the gross revenues and then the gross payout?
which would be all of it and then all of it.
Yes,
Zero.
but the gross
Okay.
revenues puts us
What
over a
if,
threshold
let's
for
get
certain items
to Jeanette and
qualify
see if
for
we can get
taxes.
something, at least, that's gonna be the next big problem, is when we can get it on the books as far as reserving,
right.
okay? So if they can do a soft hold or something for maybe 2 nights, maybe one, like the second week of the month, it's on Mondays, and the third, you know, I don't think you want to do it like cornhole, where it's just twice a month.
Right.
I think you want to do it but if you could have it Mondays these 2 weeks and Fridays or Sundays this 2 weeks, that might be workable. So maybe if you want to work on that. Do you have any idea how many people play this? I mean, that we could quantify it some way?
225 payment. If a payment's
well-
450, it's
What's
225.
the total occupancy of the grill?
I don't know.
250?
175.
I'd say at 150 it was pretty full in New Year's, but,
They had more people than that.
Yeah, they have more than 150 people in there.
and they're all playing. This is not counting the people that are up at the bar drinking.
And I don't, but I'm not playing just $2, I'm playing $4. So I have 10 cards, I have 5 here and 5 here. I mean, it's just like somebody playing bingo, they're buying 5 cards, they're going,
How many games do you play? 5 games?
yeah.
It's called bar poker.
And it's 2
really
hours
what it
is what
is.
you're thinking, or
sorry?
2 hours long, or?
It usually takes
It's
about
2 hours, yes.
2 hours and a half.
They're
Yeah.
keeping some of the money.
Okay,
This might-
all right, you get with Jeanette, I'll get with the attorney, I'll send it to them, and then we'll talk about, hopefully we can get something together to talk about next month. Because otherwise, then we're gonna get caught in the summertime and we're not gonna be here. So if we can make a decision, that's what I would recommend, okay? That's what we're doing. Okay, kitchen updates. Okay, the stovetop has 3 burners that don't work well, or not at all. The ovens, we have recalibrated several years in a row, and they hold for a while, and then they don't hold for a while. It's old, and so, and the griddle, nobody uses at all anymore that I know of. I think everybody's using portable little electric ones. There is, they have a quote on replacing all of that for approximately $3,600. Now, when those ovens and range top was bought, okay, it was a shared expense between the HOA and management, because that is our kitchen, okay? They don't have to give us all that stuff. If you look at your prospectus, they have to give us a refrigerator and a stove. And that might be a stove like in my house, as opposed to what's there. Now, at the point in time when we did that, and we had the committee that selected what we wanted and got blessing on it, and everybody said they were kicking in, We did a lot more cooking in that kitchen than we do now. And now we use a lot of, the caterers use the warming ovens and the refrigerators, and not a lot of cooking. Not to say that Paulie doesn't do his share of catering in there. The question is, there's nothing in our budget for this, and it needs to be done. This is summertime work. You don't do this in the middle of winter when you got things going on all the time. Do we want to consider that? And in addition to that, the warming oven, was that 2 months ago?
Didn't they replace that?
Oh, it is, but the old one failed, I'm gonna say it was January, but I don't know exactly when it was. And the price to get it fixed was more than half of what a new one would cost. So they bought a new one, okay? The other one is still sitting around, it's not fixed or otherwise, it's not junked. And that costs money as well. So we haven't kicked in on that. Do we want to, and that's something that is not, they don't have to provide it. They use it, we've shared it with them over time. They use it for catering up at the grill. They used it for golf tournaments and stuff like that. We use that warming oven a lot. So my question is, do we want to go half on the stove upgrade and offer them something for the warming oven as well? So that's the question. That would amount to probably half of the range top and the ovens would be $1,800, and I'm guessing that new warmer costs probably $1,200. So it's another $600. That's $2,400 that we would be coming up with.
I think that's very reasonable.
I do
For
too.
everything that's
Yeah.
done in that kitchen.
Yeah.
And could some of the... we
It's
can
not in the
even
budget.
promote- But we can even promote it to some of the groups, because they usually donate throughout the year also for capital improvements, community improvements.
So I just have one question, and again,
Sure.
I don't want to derail the conversation. I was not aware that we owned the kitchen stuff. I thought the only thing we owned in there was the microwave. And I just,
We went half on the refrigerator and the freezer as well,
okay, that was,
and the cabinetry.
And we're on a cash basis, so we record these always as expenses. We don't have any assets on our books.
Right.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
But I view that now we're dealing with a multi-million-dollar corporation. They own the building, they should own that stuff. And I know that we cut deals with Bob Young because that's the only way we could get things done. And, 50% of the people loved us, 50% of people hated us because that we shouldn't have been paying anything. So that's my only point. And so you're saying in my prospectus, I missed that where,
All I have to give us is a stove and a refrigerator. And we have always been cooperative using sharing, okay? If it's theirs, I can't guarantee there would be cooperation in sharing.
I don't know.
What was the cost you said for the two
I would say
estimate?
my estimate would be $2,500, but it might go to $3,000, I don't know.
Well, before we agree to go half or whatever the board decides, I'd like to see something in writing, to be honest with you.
From code.
Whoever's gonna be doing the estimates, going out and doing this project.
Okay. Okay, we heard from you, Wayne. How about the rest of you? Are you thinking this is something we do want to go in on if we can get the numbers?
Breakfast, we need those ovens.
You need the right stuff, or you might as well not have it.
Yeah, we were struggling on the last two pancake breakfasts, trying to keep stuff warm and everything, because the warming oven was down.
I think,
But that's been replaced.
That's the warming oven. we don't use the stovies.
I think if we let
Yeah, we do.
code buy
But we
everything, they're gonna put restrictions on it.
Yeah.
And then
What's going to happen is that warming oven is not going to be available when we
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah,
They'll use
what
it
I'm
for
thinking.
their restaurant.
I think if Cove has it, they're gonna put restrictions on not only us, but some of the committees that use it or something.
Also, if we purchase all new stuff, people start using it rather than, because.
I don't know. I
It
don't
only
know.
has 4 burners, I mean,
We got 6 burners on the one we got.
yeah, I know, but if 3 of them aren't working, you know.
Yeah,
why
it's a
use it?
waste. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's waste.
So if that's all working and make the
Okay.
grill work, then,
I'll get
Ron?
some written quotes.
yeah, get some quotes. But I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
But to George's point, I mean, they control the calendar in there. So,
No, they don't.
oh, I think they.
We have to
I
reserve
disagree.
our stuff.
We have to reserve our stuff with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
fills
So
out a-
isn't that,
Lifestyle controls it.
that's how they control it?
I've never had anything denied because they wanted the room.
All I'm saying is they control the scheduling.
Well, I think if they pay for the whole thing, they may restrict on who's gonna use that, and some people are gonna be left out. Where if we share it, then we still got,
Okay.
we have an in.
Well, think about, okay, if we own that equipment, I'm just saying, okay, because supposedly we own it now. If something happens, who has to pay to have it fixed?
What has happened
What
to
if-
date is they
they've been-
have,
They've been taking care of it, even though it's our equipment.
it's split. It's a joint
We
ownership.
split it, so therefore
But
they're,
they have done the maintenance,
they've
yes.
been maintaining it, but we put the equipment in there.
But it's advantageous for them to maintain it anyway.
Well, yeah, it's advantageous for them to maintain it, and probably they're doing work in the other
Okay,
kitchen.
all right, we'll
so
bring
they-
this up again next month. I'll get the written quotes and see where we go from there. Okay, bylaw revision. We have, I finally got my act together. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the change. The current bylaws say that we have 11 people on the board, and we only have 9 because that's all we have run. And so we have to change our bylaws. This is the draft current bylaw, and I see a typo on it already. This is something that our bylaws allow the HOA board to amend the bylaws. Okay, this doesn't have to go in front of the membership in January and so forth. Okay, so I have given you the current bylaw wording and then changing 9 to, backwards, 11 to 9, and I should have changed the words, so I think I'll have to email this to all of you. But anyway, the procedure is to read it from here, and then we vote on it next month. So, yes, Chris?
Yeah, you already saw that.
I did. I didn't, I changed the number and I didn't change the word that went with it. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be another follow-up for next month.
Okay.
And I will get that out to you corrected. Okay. All right, engineering proposal is the last thing on the agenda. Seems like I'm talking a lot here. Okay, combined with the flushing of drains, and we know we had Swift Mud in here talking about getting permits for removing trees that might be blocking the creek and so forth, and they have been in and made their advisements as to what can be removed and what can't. Is that
Yes.
correct?
And there's a quote out, and I don't think he's approved it yet. The crew is waiting on him to say, go ahead and do that.
Right. And the third leg of that, and this is all in response to the flooding that we had for Milton. The third leg of that was asking the question of whether or not we needed to dredge our current retention ponds because they're 30 years old and isn't there, wash in from it and algae buildup, crud on the bottom and so forth. And that is not anything that has been addressed as of yet. Okay, so one of the residents brought to me a name, civil engineers that could do a walk around of the property, measure the area of the retention ponds, and do some kind of a sonar thing to tell about the depth, to see how much water they would hold. And to compare that to the permitted ones when it was established, okay? That evaluation costs something like $3,000. They can perform this for $3,000. This is through Trevor Howard Civil Engineering. And Corey Siggett is your neighbors back there, was the one who brought this up. I talked to Robert about it. Robert said, I don't think we need to do it, but he didn't have a house that was flooded either. So the question is, and I said, well, I'll take it to the board. I don't think that it's our responsibility to do it, but if we could share in that cost, would you be interested? He said, if you would go half, we could go half. Okay, so this is another $1,500 out of our pocket. It's a starting point, at least. We know that we're not going to, I don't think anybody has investigated pumping down lakes yet, if it got to that point.
I had brought that up to Cindy at one of the meetings.
Yeah.
And she kind of just.
Poo-pooed it, yeah. I don't even know how you would determine when it's imperative to do it. I can see us pumping them down and then the darn thing, the storm goes another direction.
Orlando, if they get a notice that a major hurricane is coming, they pump the lakes out 3 days before it's supposed to hit. And they pump it into the grass on the golf courses. So they lower the level of the lake. Now, the bad thing is that you have to wait a week for the golf courses to drain down once the hurricane passes.
You're talking the city of Orlando, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But that's the way
Other cities
they prevented their lakes from overflowing by.
So what did they do? Okay, so your lake back there off of Snowy Plover is a spring fed. So what do? You still pump it down?
You pump it down, keep pumping it down until it gets like to halfway. Now it's going to fill up, start filling up a little bit, but not as quick as you pump it out. And who was the one in the north? The villages do the same thing. They pump all their lakes out when the hurricane's coming and they pump it right to the golf courses. Now, when I brought that up.
Did you bring that up to Cindy?
In the meeting to Cindy, she just kind of said, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, I can understand that.
So I'm not like an engineer, but if we go through and do all this study, and it sounds like things need to be done, are they going to do anything anyway?
Well, at least we'll know if it needs to be done. I mean, right now it's a hypothesis of whether or not it does need to be done. We don't even know for sure until you compare it to the original plans and what the retention ponds were supposed to be built. I'm assuming that it was built to what the recommendations were back in 1987. But I can look at the creek out there and see that it's caved in places, so I'm sure that the ponds have done the same thing. I think, logically. I don't know that. So the question is, do we want to promote this and get them to go half on this, and we would split it?
I have an overall frustration where all these bills keep coming up and everybody in the community wants everything done, but yet we only have 57% of the people paying $15 a year to be HOA members. So given that the insurance bill is already $11,000, I don't know how we can keep paying for all these things.
Okay, that's a valid point.
I mean, we need to somehow promote membership also. We can't even get half the community to become an HOA member, but yet they want all these things done for them. Where's the money going to come from?
Okay, that's a valid point.
If we, I agree with you. You know, I think that is a very valid point. And I also see Wayne's point. You've got a, multi-million-dollar corporation that owns us. However, if we wait for that multi-million-dollar corporation to do this, it's going to be years and 6 committees, and they'll be debating about it in Phoenix through hurricane season because they don't get hurricanes, they don't care. So there's a part of me that says, yes, we should, but Chris has got a very valid point is, we need to go to the population of this village and say, guys, we hear you, but there's only so much money, and guess what? There's no money because we don't have the membership. So
I'd like to know how many people on Facebook are HOA members. They're quick to complain, quick to be out there. And nobody, we have the regular people coming to the meetings. I mean, I'm just saying.
That's worldwide, I understand where you're coming from.
So what do we know about this engineering firm? I mean, I thought when you were talking about this, the bill would be like 25 grand. So what are we gonna get
Just for
three-
just for ponds, it wouldn't be that high. They're
Okay.
they're gonna do a survey of the retention ponds, the area, surface area, and however they determine how deep it is. I don't know how you do that. But there are ponds that are spring fed. There are ponds that have islands in the middle of them,
Right.
for goodness sake. So,
So say we split the cost.
Mm-hmm.
What is the output? Is it gonna be an output of data, obviously, but also the cost to fix this?
To fix it if it needs fixed.
no, if they're not gonna know the cost to fix it. They're gonna say, yes, you have adequate retention ponds for the roof area and paving area that you have, or it looks like it didn't do all that you were supposed to do back in 1987, or whatever. The fixing part would be another quote from a excavator or somebody.
So then they come back to us and say, okay, well, this is what we found out, so we're not gonna put that money out, you're gonna help us pay for it? It's not our
No.
land.
I know it's not our land, but it's our houses.
I understand.
Yeah, there's another thing to think about.
Okay.
I was just mentioning to Toby. Didn't Cove just win a $590,000 suit against the Department of Transportation for taking our land? Why, I mean, I'm sure they can come up with 3,000 out of that.
Okay, I'll let you argue that with the board of
Hey,
directors. Okay, I'm not getting a warm and fuzzy feeling about this. Is there anything that you need more information on that I can get provided?
Because if it ends up that something does need to be done, and I don't have the prospectus memorized, then is code required to do that to the original specs or whatever?
I don't, I would say that,
Hold them?
I would say I don't, it would be a matter of enforcement. And you'd have to go through it, probably a hearing and get, it wouldn't be
Well,
instant. It wouldn't be
Because
instant.
if they're supposed to do it and someone gets flooded, could then they go after
Flooding
code?
that just
I don't know what
happened,
all this, the
though.
ramifications.
Right, exactly.
Well, they are,
They've had to fix all that. I mean, as far as drainage and so forth, that part of it.
They have.
Okay, that was their response. We didn't have to pay anything.
no,
So shouldn't they to me, that's something they should be doing anyways. If there's another thing, well, we fixed the roads, well, I don't see why we should pay for it, frankly. I mean, I know it's a good study to have, but they should spend $3,000.
I guess for the heat that the HOA also took for not coming forward to help people during the floods, it might be a small investment for us to build our membership on. To say, look, we're trying to help, we're doing what we can do. We can't go, flush drains and dig up stuff and reline piping, and we can't do all that. Can we provide information that would require them or request from them that they need to increase their retention ponds? Certainly, we can do that. That should be something that we could capitalize on for membership. I can argue it any way you want to. If you don't want to spend this $1,500 to do it, then I think that, and Corey has gone back, hasn't he? We could have a town hall meeting and say, hey, we need some money. If you want us to do these things, then we need more membership. We could do that. There's lots of ways we can go with this. I'm willing and able to do that.
Well, I
see nodding.
think it needs to be done, and this is another issue, that we've got these little islands growing in the ponds.
Yeah.
And they want them taken out. Well, from what.
They
Rob-
being the person
residents.
that's looking at it.
The residents,
Yeah.
yeah. From what Robert says, is to do that, they have to get the Southwest Water Management.
They have to
involved.
permit it, yeah.
Which is a bigger issue.
Well, if you never tell them they need to do it, they're never going to volunteer to do it. If we need larger retention ponds and they do need to be excavated, they're never going to go out. He already told me, we're not going to go to this expense. If you'll go half on it, we would consider doing it. We would do it. But at some point, we have to have some responsibility in this, I think.
I think
But-
it needs to be done, but like you said, can we have a town hall meeting and tell
Sure,
us people?
we could do that.
I think that's a good way.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Okay. Okay. I think that's the end, except for Fred. What have you got to say?
Could you add me to your list?
Sure.
This is George.
Yeah.
The Fox plumbing guys, or whatever they are, engineering firm, they were at the end of my street, where the cave-in is.
With the camera,
Brunswick Pass.
they were supposed to put a camera down.
Yeah, well, he was out there and everything. I walked out there to talk to him. They don't even know where the drains go. He's asking me where this drain drains.
Yeah, that was,
I think it's just,
that was the purpose of putting the camera down in
yeah,
there. so
but
that-
why don't they have a schematic?
There is something around, but I don't know if.
Have you ever seen an as-built schematic of any job site that was anywhere near accurate?
Well, I'm just so frustrated talking with those guys when they're asking me as a homeowner where the drains are going.
I went to
Then
this-
he asked me about the ones across the street, and there goes, he says, he thought my drains were going that way, but they've went to that pond over on the other side of the boulevard.
I went to the link that Southwest Water Management supplied us and Robert gave me. In the back of my house, it shows a huge lake. I don't have a lake.
Back to your house, you got woods.
Yeah. But on this map, it showed that we have a lake behind our house.
Back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
one.
maybe. So the maps that they're suggesting that we look at are wrong. And I don't know when they were updated last.
Probably a good thing, otherwise you'd be charged more money every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, your lot rent will go up.
And the other thing he said to me is that Norfolk Island pines, the trees, have all gotta come out of the park.
Who says that?
The guy that, from this Fox.
Fox
Fox
Plumbing?
Plumbing?
Was that
Yeah.
Fox?
Right.
I don't
Seen
know,
that.
where the hell is he?
invasive species.
They're an invasive tree. Now, I mean, this guy, how many houses got that?
I don't know, mine's still in the flower pot, I haven't planted it yet.
I mean, I just have no confidence in this group you're talking about.
You neither.
Yeah. Now, that might have been the engineer because
I think it was.
Josh from Fox Plumbing actually sent a note to Robert, which I got copied on. He said, I am not an expert on this. All I can do is tell you where the water flows to.
Well, this guy didn't even know where the water was.
That was probably the engineer.
Probably the engineer, yeah, you're right.
He was, and he had not only the hole where they dug out, but he had the cover off of the drain, the steel cover.
Yeah.
And that's where he was looking down into the pipe and, doing his surveys or whatever you want to call it. Whatever he was doing.
Okay, all I know is that they're gonna line those pipes, and that is much more extensive and
Yeah, but if
expensive.
they don't know where they're going, how are they gonna line them?
Well, the guy who had the camera knew where it went, and it went across the street, which is kind of crazy. I would think it'd go to the back by the number 10.
That's where the water's coming from.
Water comes from.
Off 10, off the golf course, because I don't know what was first, the golf course or those houses. But they sloped the 10th fairway toward the houses.
Right.
Instead of toward the woods.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Dale?
I have a couple proposals for you. Instead of sharing the cost of kitchen updates, pay for it all and tell them to stay out.
There's a thought, okay?
Because
That means we'd have to do
they're
this,
going to do what they want to do as they continue to, or do nothing, just stall. And then for
Good
the
point.
engineering proposal, I think it's a revenue generator. You sell it to the attorneys and the insurance companies that are protecting our residents to document their failure to maintain their drainage system.
Yeah, they should have been liable for a lot of damage, it was crazy.
You
it
don't
was an act of God. Nobody can predict a hurricane.
You don't need to be an expert to walk around here and look at, down where the flooding was worst. You go over that little bridge, look to the left, you can see all the silt in what was
That little
the
pond
low
there.
retention
Yeah.
pond with a stream to drain it. That middle is higher than some of the houses on the left. It wasn't built that way. you know darn well it wasn't, and it just hasn't been maintained.
That pond, if I'm in the same pond you're talking about, back of Cypress Cross Loop, that one, is that what we're talking about?
Little Cypress, behind Little Cypress.
Right over by Fox, she's talking about.
Oh, there, I'm talking down here, okay, all right,
They repaired
I'll keep my mouth
the
shut.
wall down there somewhat.
Question?
I was just gonna make a comment about the ponds and how much water they hold. The pond, I live on the pond by the mail station at Fox.
Top flight.
Top Flight and Big Cypress. And that pond, since we've been here, this is our 13th year, and we've probably had 10 to 12 feet of the backside of that lake move inward. So I know it's not holding as much water as it would have 12 years ago. So, I mean, nothing's done. I mean, he comes, the boat guy, the lake guy, he comes and sprays, and I know it's supposed to kill all the stuff that's
Vegetation.
supposed to go to the bottom of the lake, but it doesn't, and
So that would lend itself to say that the retention ponds are compromised and are not holding as much.
yes, and we have a picture from when we moved in to now, and you can see it, you know, an overhead picture of it, and you can see the difference in the pond.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. All right, I have nothing else on this list. We stand adjourned.